And hello. Sorry I'm a bit late in. I've been doing something. I've got a mark of nobody's in yet, but I've got one thumbs up. What's that all about? Oh, hang on. Where's me remote for me? Hang on. No. Just me. We've got somebody here. Is this wanting to work? Or not? No. Oh, we've got blue. Oh, we've got red. That's better it is. Or it was. We'll go with that. Greetings, Mick. How the hell are you doing? I'm muttering on here, not a clue. Can't tell talk from mutter. Hello, Paul. Good to have you along. Not a clue what I'll have a waffle about. I'm a little bit late because I was messing with that. It's going to be a video, but I bought it for about £9 on eBay. And the top had been broken by someone, and they'd just made a bit of foam into a dome, so I've levelled it off, and I've used an Earthix Prairie, well, a Dapol Prairie tank kit to get the correct thing. So I've sculpted it to fit it, glued it, I'm doing a bit of trimming, and I'm going to be painting and stuff, do a bit of detailing. So I don't know what I'm doing for a Christmas video. Whether it's that or I might get that running. I bought it for £22 on eBay as a non-runner. I'll probably get it running and weather it. But yeah, there's stuff planned, and as Mick knows, I go on diecast and modelers community, and I've not had a chance to do mini yet. I'll probably do it, but it'll be late because I like the idea of the Ashes. It's a good concept having a competition against the Aussies. I wound one up the other day on another chat thing. Somebody went, "Oh, he's calling the Australians," and the Australian actually had a laugh with me. All I said was, "Well, what I say to the Aussies, we're on with regular." I say, if your granddad hadn't been a sheep rustler, you'd have still been here. God knows how that is. Not a great camera, but it does the job just. So what's everybody been up to today? Have you got anything done, Mick? Anything of interest? You, Paul? I'll have a look at it later, Mick. Which dinky you done? Oh, cool. You know something? I was looking on eBay today, the other day, And I was looking for pantographs for that Dutch lemur. I can use them just, but I wanted some tidier ones. And I saw a pair and I thought, they're ideal, I can make them work. And I looked at it, bloody China. Yeah, I can't believe what they're making now. I thought, I'm not buying them off Chinese. I won't buy Chinese if I can help it. Apart from meals, they know how to make them. Oh, for God's sake. That's better. Ish. Guy Fawkes, Pete Waterman one. I saw that. Crew when livery first come out. Saw Pete Waterman with it. But yeah, it's the Waterman Railways, isn't it, Guy Fawkes? Or it was. Mate, I can't believe how much the whole world is just letting China make. It's like nobody wants to make anything anymore. And MG cars with China, made in China. I'd die inside out seeing the MG badge on Chinese crap. I mean, it were British crap, but at least it were our own. I used to, I used to go on motorcycles, as you know, and the shit quality I've seen Chinese. There's a lot of people, they'll sing the praises, they're cheap, they go, no, they're not. You've not worked engineering and you don't know quality. If you say Chinese goods are quality, you don't know what you're talking about. They're cheap and they're just thrown together. The embarrassing thing is, I used to work at an aerospace quality engineering company, and back in the early double O's, they had a Chinese girl there, and they were teaching her everything. I said, you gullible fools. Never ever teach people when you know special processes and that. Sell them it. Don't bloody teach them how to do it. The country's full of idiots now. It's like a friend's daddy was a very high-rated engineer. He knew what he was talking about, and a company, they turned round and they said, oh, you're getting a bit expensive, we're going to want around. He said, we don't need you anymore in daytimes. And he was a retired gent, and he went, right, fair enough. No problem, I can clear off to my caravan, do stuff I want to do over there. So we were going over caravan, and he got a phone call, and he said, a few weeks later, he says, can you come in and see us? So we went, yeah, all right. He went in and saw him. And he says, what's the matter? They says, well, we wanted you to revise this and see if you can give us a better deal. And he went, right, okay. He said, so you want me to do job? They said, yeah. And he looked at it and he hiked the price up to twice what you were asking originally. And they went, fucking hell, twice. We thought you were going to put the price down. Said we wanted it done cheaper. He said, exactly. But now I know how you've hunted round everywhere and nobody can do it. He said, so the price is double now for you messing me around. And they took him back on and they paid him. But it stung them. They must have been thinking, why didn't we keep our mouths shut? Because he knew what he were on about, that guy engineering. Sadly departed now. Bonneville was a nice bike. A lot of the trouble with things like Triumph, though, and that, they didn't move forward and they didn't invest money. Typical British problem. Like, they were making them on machines that were prehistoric and doing the measuring with fag papers, and nah, it's not good enough. Like you say, they were fantastic bikes, but they needed to be moving on and designing new stuff. If you look at Triumph now, they get regular models out now, regular new stuff. And I used to work, when I was working engineering, I'd go to a place called Impregnation Services, and they're a place that made the casings for the new Triumphs. And the use of what impregnation is you get castings, they can be porous. And if they have to hold oils and stuff like that to stop them leaking, alloy castings, you heat dip them in a material, and it's like an epoxy or a glue or something. I don't know, I didn't work in it proper. But it fills up any channels through the alloys, so it seals them. It looks like it's done nothing on the outside, but all the really hot water with a fluid that bungs up the leak areas that are prone to leaking, it all soaks into the alloy and seals it up. But they had trays full of Triumph side casings ready to be heat dipped. You're correct, mate. A lot of stuff did come from England, and don't get me wrong, we did import some stuff, like Corgi when they built the musical ice cream van down the Ford Thames. They imported all the music box innards from Hong Kong. But then, at that time, could you still call that British? Because it were part of the British Empire still then. So technically, I suppose you could still call it British. But yeah, today you look at it, it's just cheap manufacturing. I've always been taught over the years, and where I've worked engineering and stuff, I've been taught, and it's true, you only get what you pay for. If you don't want to pay a lot, you don't get a lot. But the only trouble today is, with a lot of stuff, you pay a lot and you get in the poor quality end. To be honest, no, I didn't, Paul. Because my first job when I left school was on with British Railways, and I worked in signal box as a train register lad. And the old guys there, the signalmen, they didn't really play tricks on you, they didn't, we all. We still had fun, they were a great set of guys, but they didn't, you couldn't really get sent for stores for anything, no. Like on building sites, you couldn't do stuff like that. I heard some of my mates at the time, because they did different jobs. I heard some of my mates, and there were some who would. One mate I had worked for a cable company. Well, not a cable company, it were a woodworking company, joinery company, and they made the cable drums, the big cable drums you wound cable on. And for a laugh one time, they laid him down on one, and they had air guns that fired nails out, and they pinned all around his overalls, pinned him down to a table, to a cable drum. And he's like, lads, let me off, let me off. Little teenager, like. And they went, sod it, we're not finished yet. They stood the cable drum up and they just pushed it across the yard, and the yard were on a slope downhill. So he went right across the yard, stapled to it. Oh, you couldn't do that now. You couldn't do it. Yeah, I suppose that's one thing I missed out on, Mick. I heard all my mates getting it, but they never did it to me because what I worked in. Yeah, because of what I worked in, I never really got them. Hammer and left hand. They did it to my brother in army when he were in forces. One guy, he were working on something with him, and he sent me brother for a bubble for a spirit level. And my brother disappeared. He spat into a paper bag, gave it him, and said, hey, yeah, you didn't say what size you wanted, so I brought you a bag of assorted. Oh, God. Now he got chased everywhere for that. But yeah, some of the stuff were class stuff. But kids, I don't think kids would get half of the stuff we used to get when we were kids. Like I say, I didn't get it because I didn't get in the environment where there were a lot of guys and, working on a site or working in a factory. It wasn't really the environment where they did stuff like that. It was a bit different working in a signal box with one signalman. And they were salt of earth guys, really, the ones worked with. They were brilliant guys. One of my favourites. I've got into contact with a couple of the lads I used to work with. And one of my favourite signalmen has passed away now. Bless him. Pound of chicken. Found a chicken lips. One friend I know, and I've known him for years, and the best way to describe him is he's always been a bit of an arsehole. And one time I've worked with him doing installations like security shutters and electronic gates on posh houses. I've done installations like that, and the laughs I used to have with him. I grew up with him as a kid, so we've known each other for years, but some laughs. Like he was doing this job once, installing some stuff, and he had to do some welding. And he phoned into the office, and God bless her, a young secretary answered. And he says, I'm stuck. I need some equipment for welding. And she says, what do you need? He said, I need some of them there fallopian tubes. And she went, oh, okay. He says, can you go and ask for them at stores? And this poor young girl goes to the storeman and asks for them. Obviously, she didn't take biology at school, but she went to the storeman and asked him for some fallopian tubes in it. He almost died laughing. Before he'd started laughing, he just went, hang on there a minute, love, and shut door and went to back of stores, chartling his head off. Oh, some of the stuff he did, he were a sod. Used to have a real laugh with him sometimes. Middle of Liverpool, oh God. I thought we were going to get our heads kicked in. Because he turned round, we were in middle of Liverpool, right outside Everton's ground. So you couldn't get anywhere rougher. It was, it was like working in Beirut. He goes, he turns round and there's this young lad, and we've got ladders up and we're repairing the shutters. And this young lad stood watching, and his dad's there with him and pointing and that. And my mate goes, look at that, a scouser showing his son what somebody looks like working. I went, no. Oh, God. Don't upset the locals, they're primitive. God bless them. Salt of the earth people, but Jesus, you think, we're going to get chased out of town with you, dude. But yeah, what's everybody been up to today? There's 6 around at the moment. It says. What's everybody been up to? I know you've done your dinky, Mick. And Paul's been running his Guy Fawkes, class 47. I did really like that livery. It was like a matte black with a sort of burgundy reddish stripe. And the nameplate in the middle in white and red. Looked good. At the same time, and same livery, he had Lady Godiva. Oh, yeah, have you been anywhere interesting, or has Trish had you shopping, Mick? You look like you were fed up shopping yesterday. Mind you, I couldn't stand it. I think after I hang up here tonight, I think I'll do me Christmas stuff with Iceland. G'day, Scooby. I take it you mean you've been to Aldi. Anything on the middle row? Yeah, you're not on your own, Mick. Young Dickens. I'll tell you what, I'll never forget a joke I saw one time in a magazine. And there were a few jokes, but one of them stood out. And it was the YTS puzzle page. and he'd had spot the odd one out, and he'd had 3 cats and a dog. Oh, that's what I can't cope with this time of year. Scooby. Tell you what, I'm putting... Yeah, I'm glad it's not just here. The country has gone and turned into... We ain't being too rude about it, an ignorant set bastards that are just so self-centered they don't give a shit about anyone else. The other day I was getting on a bus and there were old people and they were barging past somebody in a wheelchair. So I stood in the way and he goes, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm standing in front of you so you can't get on." I said, "You can't do that." I said, "Yeah, I can." I said, "You're an ignorant set of bastards. You're barging past somebody in a wheelchair. Let them get on. Let them get comfy. Then you get on." I said, "I don't give a shit if you're a pensioner or not. You're just ignorant bastards." And that were it then. The bus driver looked at me as if to say, "Well done, lad." And they looked at me as if to say, I think I was actually burning at the time. Scooby, I don't know what it is. Aye, Shedmouth, good to see you in. How you doing, kid? Nice seeing you, Martin. I've made a start on the wibbly wobbly wagon. For Mick, who's not model railway orientated, or in fact anyone else that's not been over to Martin's channel, he's doing a thing called the wibbly wobbly wagon thing. Take any wagon, cheap, knackered, whatever. If you haven't got one, Rocket Railways will supply one. And it's just making stuff out of it. Oh, who's with that one the other day that did the Pac-Man, Martin? I watched his video and my sides were split and he was so infectious making that Pac-Man wagon. We were going right through, and as he were making it, he were chuckling his head off all the way. He were pretty good when he'd finished. Oh, I'd happily slap them round back head, Scooby. People in this country now have just gone so ignorant and so inconsiderate to others. And I wouldn't mind. I bet they're the ones that go, "I'm offended by that." Well, get out of the way before I slap you. Like I say, them that were barging past that disabled person the other day. I deliberately stood in front of them, like, just to piss them off. Oh, that video, Martin, the Pac-Man, he was chuckling all the way through, and it really tickled me ribs. He was funny. Rocket Railways did the Bath one. That tickled me. I've got my idea. Mine's in. I've bought... Hang on. I bought some shizzle to do it. Some, hang on. Get it right way up. Some 5 more clays. I've got them 3 different colours. So I've got my idea and I got the wagon in a job lot, to be honest. It was in one of my £7 job lot ones. But recently I've done well on eBay. I got a Fowler 264 tank, and that worked out, I think it was 30-40 quid, which was cheap really. I got 3 locals. At the moment, I just showed it the others before, but you weren't in them, Martin. I got a lemur in one lot, and the top was broken off it, and they sanded a piece of foam to shape and glued it on, so it didn't look. It was a dome rather than the proper Great Western thing. So that's come out of the pannier kit. And I'm going to fill it, level it off, touch the paint up, paint it gold, and I might do some detailing, I might do some proper coaling it. And that should be a nice one. Showed them I got a Dutch electric loco. I think that were about 15 quid or something. It weren't a lot. Maybe 20. It was a buy it now. Really cheap. No one was taking it on, so I thought it can come home here. It's working. It's got working lights. So I'll restore it, maybe detail it, stuff like that. But that'll come up fairly soon. That was 22 quid. It's a non-running. It's dead as a doornail, arm bit class 25. But it'll be easy enough. There won't be anything taxing on it to getting it running. I bought a few recently. At the moment, I'm doing one of my American locals for a video. Oh, you're doing your photos, Mick. I'll catch you later, buddy. Good to see you. But yeah, I can't wait to see the others. All I've seen up to now is that Bath Martin and the Pac-Man. Have you had any others yet? I know Sam Strings give you a shout out. Sam Strings give you a shout out the other day, so that were good. That'll get to a lot of people. See you in a few, Mick. Oh, and in unrelated news, I've just hit me 500 subscribers. It's been slow, but they're there. So, and in other unrelated news, I've to do my draw for the freebie Marklin local I did. So it won't be taxing that. There's only 2 people. I might do heads and tails. That one sorts that out. Only 2 people. How hard can it be just do heads and tails? So what have we been up to today, Martin? Anything good? Been able to do out with you? Or is she busy with school and Christmas stuff? I got what is it? Talking about people being rude. I got given a box of roses the other day at work. We get a lot at this time of year. All right, I was just asking what you've been up to, Martin. Have you managed to out with Evie, or is she busy with Christmas round the corner and school and stuff? Yeah, could do, Paul. Check out American law course, HR law course, because all American law courses have to have a bell, and they all have one on somewhere, usually. I don't know whether these bodies have them, they might have broken off. I've got 3 bodies here, one of them might have it. But you can get bells for HO locals, for American ones. People like Details Associates do them and stuff like that. I think that's the nearest you're going to get to it. Because did George V do an American trip? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Martin. I'm trying to get a couple of videos together for over Christmas. Yeah, you'll find one. I think there's names of Detail Associates. The SoCal do them. There's a few. Just type in American HO scale bell, because they do all the detailing stuff for American locals. And if it were an American tour, which I think the George V did as well as the Scotsman, well, American or Canadian were it, I don't know. But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of for the scale. And it's 187 scale, but it's close enough. It won't look out of place. Oh, fantastic. Hopefully mine will be done. When I come off here tonight, I'll check. It's in paint stripper on one end. I'll check how it's done. And then if the paint's off, which it was wrinkling when I put it in, so it'll be off. I use methylated spirits bath to get rid of paint. All I'll say is it's genius and it's Christmas themed. Apart from that, I'm saying nothing. But yeah, it'll definitely. All I'll say is it'll definitely be a wibbly wobbly wagon. But yeah, I'm not saying it's a long wagon, but I've had to put one end in the paint stripper first, then I'll wipe all the strips paint off and put the other end in. Because somebody's painted it bright orange. That might give you a clue if you've seen my other videos. I'll just say it's another tanker. And it's Christmas themed. That's as far as I'm going. Oh God, yeah, it's everybody's got it where I work, Martin. It's a virus or whatever. Everybody's been bad with it, even patients. So we've all suffered with it. Even a little princess I work with, she forever has a bad chest. So if anything's going around, she gets it. Bless her. But yeah, fucking hell, I had a taxing day the other day. I worked with a lad, and obviously I work with brain injuries and stuff. And he tries pulling his trachea out, and he had it 3/4 of the way out the other day, and I was trying to get it back in and stuff, and I couldn't reach the emergency buzzer, and I shouted out, and I think because I hadn't pressed the emergency buzzer, the woman I shouted at didn't take it serious, and she just goes, "Oh, I'll just come and look for someone for you." No, you do. I need help. Oh, God, I'll go and look. No, you're the person I want help off, you div. Be honest with you, Martin. You shouldn't do, I suppose, but I'm a bit blasé and used to it. It still frightens you a bit. But the girl that was with him just about 5 minutes after I left, he did it again to the girl that had took over from me, except he pulled it fully out, so he had to have an emergency trachea change, and she shit herself. Like, I mean, me, I've always been calm and laid back, and even when it happened on me first time, trachea come fully out, and it was somebody else that accidentally pulled it out while I was there, because it happens, and I just went, oh, fuck, that's not meant to happen. Pressed the emergency button. Like, the girl that did it accidentally, she'd frozen and panicked. So somebody else come in, and we formed a team between us to get it back in again. But yeah, it keeps you on your toes, Martin. It certainly does. Keeps you on your toes. I know. I ended up in it accidentally rather than planning on doing it. Well, to be honest, Martin, we have we have about 90% of boredom and graft and about 10% of hilarity. Because some of the stuff they do is hilarious. I've had my work's Christmas party, pal. That was entertaining because I work with a load of nurses and stuff, and they were dragging me up, dancing and stuff, and getting hugged and shit and all like that. And I'm out for Christmas dinner, and I'm out New Year's Eve, so yeah, I've got a few things going on. Yeah, some of the characters I've worked with over. There were an old chap, God bless his soul, and he's passed away now, but oh, he was hilarious. Because he had brain injury. 90% of the time, you could go in the morning and go, good morning, and he was a very posh man. And he'd go, oh, good morning, how are you? And all that, dead posh. Then that 10% of the times, you'd go in the morning and you go, morning, mate, and he'd go, fuck off, you blackguard. Oh, God, he's got it on him. And he'd come over to punch you. Oh God, I'm going to get it again. I get it. I get it quite often because I go in, save the women getting it. I've had the bus noses, bloody hell. So. But yeah, well, I didn't drink that much. He used to use that, Scooby. He used to say, "You're a cad, you're a bounder and a blackguard." He used to use all the old-fashioned names because he were an old chap and he were posh. But some of the things he did, he used to have me crying, laughing. He used to get the girls regular. Oh, well, I'll say hello to her. Yeah, I'll have to tell you about that chap after. Probably not suitable for Evie. It's hilarious, but probably not suitable for Evie. But yeah, oh, he come out with all sorts. Hi Evie, are you alright, sweet pea? Are you doing good? Had a busy day? I'm on the tea. I've not a clue whose it is. I just know it's some sort of strong blend. Need it. I might go posh and have an Earl Grey after. I've not used your mug yet though, Chuck. I think that's going to go in my cabinet. I don't want to drop it. I like it too much. I know if I used it, I'd drop it. Yeah, your dad was saying I'm not asking, I want it to be a surprise. Oh, jeez, if I had to have a British Leyland car from the 70s, what would it be? None of them. We've had some of them. I've had some of the Leyland cars from the 70s. Yeah, Evie, I believe you've been doing Christmas back, but I can't wait to see it, but I don't want my surprise spoiling. I like just going in there. I always have a chuckle when I see your videos. They're a breath of fresh air to the hobby, Evie. Something different. So let's see, the British Leyland car from the 70s, which one would it be? I've owned a few, but it's difficult because well, the thing is, with Vanden Pla by the 70s, all it was badge engineering, and they were putting grills on things that didn't even suit having grills on. Like the Austin Allegro, they put a grill on and made it look worse. Thank you, Evie. Yeah, spot on. It was some time coming. Then I was hanging around on 495 for ages, and it'd go up two, drop two, go up two, drop two, and then all of a sudden 4 or 5 came in from nowhere. But yeah, it was a long time coming. But yeah, I understand I'm not for everyone. I'm a dinosaur and I can upset some people. But I'm old school. I don't let it worry me. If they're that sensitive, they shouldn't be going on the internet. But yeah. Oh, way up. One dropped out there. Hope I'm not upset them. To be honest, I quite like the Allegro. The problem Leyland had, thank you, Evie. Yeah, it's a mystery thing, subscribers. You get them drop off and then they come back again. I don't know whether it's related to if they shut devices down or if something happens and they drop off then come back. Or perhaps they haven't watched for a while and they knock the subscription off and they have to read. I don't know how it works. But I notice sometimes two will come on and then you'll lose two. Two more, then lose. And you're like, what's going on here? But my friend's claim to fame, Paul, is he designed the rear suspension for the Allegro and somebody else designed the front suspension and neither of them talked to each other or saw what the other one were doing, which sums up the British car industry perfect. Sadly, but what would I have? I'd like an original factory TRV8. Yeah, take care, Evie. Lovely having you in. Great having you in for a quick chat. Understand it's busy with school and doing stuff with Dad. But yeah, good to see you doing stuff. Take care. But yeah, what else would I have? I'd probably like an XJS shooting brake. A V12. They were nice. Cheers, pal. Yeah, but honestly, the problem in the 70s with Leyland was they had fantastic designs, beautiful interiors. On most stuff, you can probably rule the Maxi out of all of them. But the Maxi did a job and they weren't a bad little car. If you had them, if you were going camping, a Maxi were a brilliant tool back in the day. It had the hatchback, you could put all the seats down to sleep in it. It was good, and that was the trouble with the British car industry. They had fantastic ideas, they did nice designs, nice interiors, but they were ruined by poor quality and poor assembly methods and stuff that didn't really give a shit. Like the first TR7s, that should have been a world-beating car, and it were good. It was like the new Mini when it first come out, the TR7. You couldn't get them in this country because America wanted them all. Yeah, Maxi 2 was a better one. Yeah, but the TR7, at first you couldn't get them in this country because America wanted all the TR7s. And the first ones were Speak-built cars. And the quality was atrocious from Speak. And the strike problems they had with them. Yeah, the TR8 was a rarer one. They had to build so many, though, to omligate it for rallying. Because they used it for rallying with the V8. So it had to be omligate. So they had to have so many made in that form. But there was a lot of nice cars, like tidiest car I remember from the 70s, or it may have been very early 80s, was the TR7 convertible, and it was in two-tone metallic green, pea green with dark green on top, and they did the tartan two-tone. They did two-tone green tartan inside, and it looked the business. It was a tidy car, but quality issues again. But yeah, there was some nice. They did do some nice vehicles, but it summed it up when I worked for Rover, which were BL. The end throws of Rover, BL were Rover, and some of the crap. Yeah, it would have been. It was in New Avengers as well. They've recently found Steed's Broadspeed Jaguar, and that's under restoration at the moment. The two-door coupe Broadspeed. They found that, and yeah, that car I would have liked, the Broadspeed two-door Jag. They were just porn on wheels. But Jaguar, they came under BL's specialist division for the sports cars. They separated it into divisions, and Jaguar was specialist division for sports cars, the E-Type and stuff like that. Yeah, no, I was discussing it on a classic car forum, which cars you'd have off telly, and the Minder Capri come up. And that, it's a few years ago now, I think perhaps 4 or 5 years ago, the full front end burned out of that, and that got rebuilt. So it's had a full front end rebuild, the Terry McCann Capri. I think it was, what were Reg, SLE 70 Summit S, I think, I don't know. Something like that, I might be wrong. It's like the Sweeney, a lot of people say the Granada console was a Sweeney car, which it was, and they're correct, but it weren't unusual for them to use Cortina Mark IIIs. It weren't just the bronze one they used silver ones, green ones. There were a mixture of cars they were in Sweeney. The main one was that bronze Granada console, but if Ford were supplying them, there'd have been times they'd have serviced it and repaired it. So they'd have just lent them another Ford, either a console or Cortina. Yeah, it was always the Mark II Jag for baddies. I think it's because they were plentiful, they were quick, decent handling. Well, for the day they were decent handling, they're not good now. They were good for a big barge, though, in the day. But yeah, they always ended up trashing a Mark II Jag. It was probably because you could get them cheap back. You wouldn't find one cheap now, but they were cheap back in the day. How do, Mike? Good to see you. What have you been up to for today, Mike? Anything good? Or is your day just starting? Depending on where you are in the world. I can't remember where you were in the world. Yeah, but if I had to choose a film car, well, a British TV car, I think it'd be Brett Sinclair's Aston rather. Out of all the TV cars, Brit ones. Although John Steed's two-door Jags one. Your neck of the woods, I'm not surprised, Martin. It's almost obligatory where you live to have passports. Wow. I had a Mark II Granada estate. The bloody barges, them things were. The Cologne engine in it. Yeah, I hated trying to find somewhere to park when I had that. I was glad when I got rid of it and got me Saab. Yeah, I'm trying to park that thing. You were like, I think a double decker were a bit shorter. 3-point turn to get out of Tesco. You're not kidding. I had one of the things. My friend asked me if I could pick up a wardrobe for her. I put it in without even interfering with front seats. Yeah, Mike, I don't think he has set a closing date. I don't know whether he's planning one where he'd like to get them in for, but I think it's planning over Christmas, and then later on, I think he was planning on getting as many as he could together and doing something for charity with them. I don't know. I don't know what his firm plans were. I'm willing to give it away because I won't. I don't think I'll use it on my railway after, but I'll have to. The wagon I'm using's got continental couplings on, so I'll have to put some British couplings on it so it tags in with all the others. No, the old minis were tiny compared to the new ones. Yeah, that's what I thought, Martin. No great rush for it. Should be fun. I've got, like I say, mine's in a jar of mess. I'll have to turn it over and baste it in a bit. Baste. Oh, what am I like? I killed myself. Oh. Yeah, I can't wait to see some of the ideas. The first ones have tickled me. Like I say, him with that Pac-Man video. Oh, I was chuckling along with him. He was so funny. Brilliant. No, I can imagine. Must be murder that, working on hot exhaust. I had motorcycles and it was rare, but if ever you needed to get something from near the exhaust, it used to be, bitch. 9 times out of 10, I'd bloody take my glove off so I could get it better. What were the point of that? Yeah, grabbing hold of a red hot exhaust, jeez. By the time I took a car into a quick fix centre, there weren't a lot left of the exhaust. Mine used to rot and drop off. Used to be ace tanking your car through town like a rally car. Yes, some pattern parts you have to get creative with, like widening bolt holes out and stuff like that. You definitely had to get creative with some stuff. Like I used to nearly always replace my exhaust on a motorbike when I got one. Apart from the last one I bought, which had already had it done. It already had a Delcovic Sports exhaust on. It didn't have the one I'd have preferred it to have on. I'd have preferred the 200mm can. Give it a deep burble. Like I had on my 500. That's the one on my 500. It made it sound like an utter beast. It weren't a quick bike. It were quick enough, like, but it weren't quick for motorcycles. My second were El Rapido. My 600 were just about one of the quickest 600s. 0 to 60 were quicker than a lot of Ferraris. Yeah, I've always found you have to get creative with pattern parts. You get the odd one that's good, but they're not all good. I've always found if I can afford them, I get genuine. In fact, sometimes the genuine are cheaper than the pattern. I've bought genuine Honda parts and stuff that have been cheaper than the pattern parts. Go figure. But anything like brake parts or tyres or anything to do with chassis suspension, never bother with pattern stuff. Buy good kit. Only takes one wrong flinch throwing it round a corner. Cherry bomb back. Yeah. That was similar to what the Delkovic 200mm can is. It's similar to a cherry bomb back box. It gives you a nice pop on and a pop on the overrun. When you let throttle off, it had a deep menacing growl, and then when you let throttle off, it went pop 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 pop. Well, bang 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 bang. And I was at the time of the arena bombing in Manchester. I was going to go out that night it happened because a friend was a policewoman and she was there during tidying up. And she was messaging me as it happened. And I thought I'll get bike out and anybody stuck for getting back, give them a lift. But I decided against it because of the exhaust noise. I thought the last thing you need when you've been in a terrorist attack is somebody on a bike with an exhaust that goes bang, 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 bang. I thought it's the last thing the people will want. But I'm ready to go, but the bike I had were too noisy. But I'm ready to go to shuttle people backwards and forwards. Like sling a spur helmet on my arm. And Ed there just said, want a left back? Go back, get another one a left back. It's only one or two, but it's helping people, isn't it? Because that night, all the trains, buses and everything stopped going in and out of Manchester. They stopped everything. So all public transport come to a stop. Get it on. Get it on. V6 Mondeo. Is that an ST? I'm sure it was an ST my mate had. That was a story, Gary. That was a funny story. Funny lad, Gary were. He was one of these financial advisors. And funny lad, he tickled you. He were a star and what he used to do, he'd take money out of his account in a morning, or he'd even borrow money in morning, and he'd deal with it on the markets, and by the end of the day, he'd put it back, plus some more. He usually did well. And he come out for a night on Lash Wheels one time, and he picked us up in an ST Mondeo, brand new. Said, what's happened to you? He said, I've had a good week, I bought it cash. So he'd had a good week on the markets, and he bought a Mondeo ST brand new cash. And a couple of months after, he picked us up in an old Volvo Banger. We first said, where's your Mondeo? He said, I had a bad month. I've sold it back to him. I had a bad month. Thought, geez, the depreciation he lost on that car. Very nice. Yeah, you get to a point, Martin, a car like that, it's worth more keeping it than selling it. 70k is nothing on one of them. Because I'm presuming it'll still be the Cologne V6, albeit with modern, like, what is it they call them? I forget what it is they call them, but all the modern stuff on it. Like they're into now, small cars, they've got into 3-cylinder engines. Yeah, they, it's better off, you're better off keeping it than losing loads of money on it. Because 70k is nothing on a car. It should still be pretty tidy with that low mileage. Yeah, something like that engine and a big engined saloon like that, they normally have astronomical mileage. I know some of mine did. Some of my cars had it, especially my Saab. My Saab had Neil Armstrong mileage on it. Been to moon and back, that thing had. Yeah, I've bought, at the moment, I'm waiting. I've been off a few days and last week and stuff. And I'll guarantee my parcel will come tomorrow when I'm out. But I've bought Athen F7 to strip for parts. Because I've got one, I bought some drive shafts, but they have a universal coupling it goes onto that's on the flywheel, like a universal joint. And I've got a loco, it's a lovely loco. It's a Rock Island one. But what I did, I tested the motor without thinking there's no drive shafts on it or anything. And it flicked the universal joint off, and where it went, I haven't a clue. So I bought another loco to strip the parts and pinch the universal joint for that. I'll guarantee it'll turn up once I've got one. Once I've stripped the loco and done the build, I'll guarantee it turns up. Because I actually have two. The way Athen does it with the American locos, they'll sell a motorized version and they'll sell a non-motorized version. And she did indeed. I've got a story about them, Paul, if you give me a minute. Yeah, they do. The Americans do a motorized loco and a non-motorized loco, so it makes it cheaper to make up the consist for them. You know, when they have 4 locomotives on one train, they particularly sell, the Americans, they sell dummy locos that are more or less like having another carriage on. So you can have 2 powered locos, 2 dummy, whatever you want to set up. Anyway, I've got a Rock Island, I've got a powered, and I've got a dummy. But often they even sell them in boxes. They'll sell box sets of a powered loco and a dummy loco. And I've got one gift set, the Athen, the Montana Link locomotives, an SD 40-2, and I'm not sure what the other one is. But on them, that set, they're both powered locos. They do a lot of good stuff. I've been watching there's an American model railroad guy, and I might send off for one of the buildings to America and get one. Won't be cheap. They're not cheap because they're about 40 quid. Then it's 40 quid postage, but they're absolutely beautiful. They do the laser cut buildings and they do with all the old signs. They do proper full kits. They do it a lot nicer than we do. The buildings are beautiful. And there's a couple I like. They do garages and all sorts. And because I do 1/64th customs, some of the garages will just about pass off to put me customs at the side of them and stuff. They'll just pass for them. So I might get one of the service stations. But they do all the old signs and the laser cut ply or whatever it is. And it's amazing. To paint them, you use stain and inks more than paints. You can use paints as well, obviously. But yeah, they make beautiful buildings, the Yanks. Yeah, Paul, Dempsey and Makepeace, we had one of them. It was a Mark IV Escort by the time I worked for them in the 90s. I think he were about 94 or something. I worked for Ford. By that time, I think he was the Mark IV Escort. And we got a metallic pinky red convertible Mark IV Escort. Rolled off the back of a trailer, and not one of the mechanics could get it to run. It just wouldn't start. They tried everything. All the electrics, fuel, nothing. It just never ever ran. We just stuck it in a corner of the workshop and the factory forgot about it. Like the factory didn't pick it up. And it was there for months and they eventually did say, we'll take it back. And when they picked it up, it should have. He'd had a layer of black dust over it, accentuated with coffee cup rings all over every flat surface on it. Thought, well, that's not going to be sold. If they have a metallic pinky red Mark IV cabriolet in the museum, it's probably the one that got returned that nobody could get running. Oh, has she done the day's work? Oh my God, Martin, I think you'd better do some of the holding hands and counselling and stuff. Always keep them happy. Get that technique what I had, where you always pay attention to the first letter of this word they said and the last. And I had a technique where I could always say, you've not been listening to me. And I always used to be able to say, well, you just said. I'd forgotten everything else, but I had a technique of remembering the last three words she said. I weren't paying attention. But do that and keep them happy. And then if they ask you to go into more depth, just say, it's an ecumenical matter. Good evening, Valleys. Good to see you. Where the hell have you been? And good night, Martin. Take care, buddy. I'd just claim amnesia, Martin. Easiest thing. I've been taunted. Yeah, take care, Martin. Good having you in. Oh, lovely. Were you out or were you out valleys? I'm having a guess you've been out though. Or have you done a nice home cooked one? Here's one that'll interest you, valleys. I'm presuming it's Lima 94XX. It's had plates put on anyway. I bought it and somebody had broken the top off there where the grey one's on, and they'd replaced it with just the dome one, and it just didn't look right, so I've ripped it off. I've to do some filling and some levelling on that yet, but I've used that bit off the Earthix, what do you call it? Can't think of it now. The Earthix kit of the Great Western. Is it the pannier type or what? I don't know. Let's have a look. It could be either it's got 94, I think. 9408 is the actual number on the plate. You'll know better than me. I'm strange to all these Great Western numbering methods. But it should be nice once it's done. Do some filling and then I'm going to maybe use the kit parts to do the tank top things at the tank, and then I can put like copper wiring between them. Yeah, it is a large prairie, but the actual thing on top that I've used is just about passable. It's more passable than the dome he'd had on anyway. He'd had like a dome like an LMS or LNER loco. It just didn't look right. I don't even know on these live feeds if you can share. What's this? Pop out dashboard. Hang on. No, that's not what I thought. Manage. Edit. No. What's that? Share. No. Don't want to share on there. I was just wondering if there's any way putting a picture up. To be honest, I've got to admit I do like the more detailed ones. But the problem is, you get people raving and they're not quality. They're cheap, that. They're cheap. They're cheap materials. They're the badly thought out running gear, the amount of problems I hear with Hornby and everything, and to be honest, I bet 90% of people struggle or they can't service them. These modern models. I'll never dispute that they look good and they do run good when they run well. But they don't always run that good from factory. And they don't, not always in one piece from the factory. And the trouble is, it's cheap tat, and you should find an happy medium between detail and reliability and being able to serve the locomotives, service them. And to be honest, Hornby weren't that far off it, and when they were made in England, and to be honest, if you wanted to, you could detail them up and that. A lot of people did. A lot of people bought kits and put them onto an Hornby chassis. Well, I get the occasional triang, but I find nowadays triang are they're very old at and getting the nice cabinet models now. Yeah, you can get them run, and yeah, they're decent, but they struggle on decent track now, some of them. I've got one, I'm going to be turning down the flanges on the wheels to make it run on normal track, but I love the 262 tank. That were a cracking triang model, but yeah, they were cracking models, and they were made. You can throw them about, put them in a box, and you can drag them out and they'll run. Run them for 12 months, strip them down, service them. You could service them and clean them, and you can't do that with this modern stuff. The motors don't last 10 minutes on half of them because they're too small, and you've got a small motor. Gearing's good. I'll give it that. They put low gearing, but the thing is, it's an happy medium. Because if you're going to go to lower gears, you have to have finer pitch, you have to have finer gears, so they'll wear out faster. Simple as. You can't get round physics. And that's why Hornby had higher pitch, coarser pitched gears. They were made to last. They were more than able to make the finer pitched gears triang and Hornby. They'd have been more than capable to do it, but they wouldn't have lasted as long. And they wouldn't be that compatible with home servicing. And to be honest, well, if you really wanted to, you can DCC a triang if you want. Lima back in the mid-90s were absolute gods for the hobby, and how they ever went out of business and sold up to Hornby is beyond me, because they were gods. They were in the 90s, they were introducing new models. They had liveries coming out every week, new liveries, new named locos. They were doing stuff every week, Lima. They were really lively with the diesels in the mid-90s. Then they ended up sold out to Hornby. I nearly died inside when Lima sold out to Hornby. they still get on, but you're still using the bodies from the Lima days, but they put their own interiors in, which they're not going to be as good quality. Lima were cheap, but it were quality. I mean, look at that. I'm guessing that Lima's from the 70s. I just put it on the track the other day. Running round layout, no problem. I defy in the future for you to get one of the modern Hornby diesels or electric like that. I defy you in 30 times to get it running on the... I'll guarantee it won't run and it'll be a bitch to get going. And yeah, it's... Like I say, I love some of the modern detailed stuff. And I do buy the very occasional one. But I'm not going to get into the spending over 200 quid. I'd be grudge giving them 150. I'll spend up, usually if I get a new loco, I'll get a little shunter or something and spend under 100. The last Hornby I bought, they brought out the Sentinel shunter when they first brought them out, and they brought them out in 3 liveries. And I didn't know which one to get, so I bought all 3. And I think they were about 50 odd quid at the time. And the same loco now will probably be about 150. Yeah, I've got 2 Lima 37s valleys. So do mine. Yeah, they will do, Paul, definitely. Yeah, I've got it. I'm still not fully made up, but I'll have to have a look into when I'm doing my layout, what track I'm using. I'll probably go for Code 100, but I've not looked properly, you know, what I bought a shed load of Pico points and stuff, and I've not looked which code they are, to be honest. But I've got a shed load of points. I've got flexi track. I've got all sorts. Yeah, it's... G'day, Mac. G'day, Mike. Back again. Yeah, but Lima, I can't fault them. I've never had a real problem that's not easily solved with Lima. Easily and quick. They had a good ethos, Lima. They had cheap, easy to work with mechanisms. Nothing to them. They just worked. They were cheap, easy mechanisms, cheaply made, cheaply assembled. They did nice bodies, nice level of detail. And but where Lima excelled above Hornby, they weren't bad runners and quality wise. They were sort of average. But where Lima excelled with the quality of the liveries. They did some fantastic liveries. They walked all over Hornby because they were all tampo printed and they were pretty crisp. I don't know whether I've got a 90s Lima here at the moment. I have them in the other room. But yeah, they're absolutely... Well, I've got a possibly early 2000s zombie, which was pretty much what Lima was, because it's the Lima body into Lima quality. And I've got that one. I think that's early double O's. And quality on that, for how much you were paying for them in the mid-90s, that was just outstanding value. And like you said, they did liveries. They did liveries like Pete Waterman's Railways. They did Lady Godiva and Guy Fawkes Lima. Yeah. Yeah, they were. They had good coaches. They did have good coaches, Lima. Yeah, there's some good mainline and Airfix ones as well. Coaches. But yeah, there's more often than not. That one, that hadn't been run for years. And all I did was give it a light oiling. I cleaned the commutator and it runs sweet. That's a Lima for you. You won't be doing that with the more modern stuff. That's for sure. But the best ones I rate for actual running gear, it was good. They had, at the same time, Waterman Railways, I was saying before, you probably missed it, Valleys. When Pete Waterman released them liveries, I went to Crewe Open Day, and they were both there. I'll have to do a video with the photographs. I've got the photos somewhere. And I think he had Lady Godiva and Guy Fawkes there. I think both of them were there. And I met Pete Waterman, had a chat. He's a top lad, top guy. It's time for anyone. He'll chat with anyone. There's no words or graces about him. I won't pay back. I won't pay the new Hornby and Bachman prices. I won't pay them. They've gone out to the ballpark with me. I'm not a gullible mug. You're not telling me they're charging. You're probably getting up to 60 and 70 quid for a coach now for Hornby. It's just out of the ballpark figures. No, I'll guarantee them. They're getting them made in China. And I bet they're not paying. I'll be surprised if they're paying a tenner for them. I'd say 20. I'd say 20 quid. But I'll be surprised if they're paying a tenner. It's like when I worked for a microbiology company years ago. And we used to buy one of the mediums we sold. It was basically table salt. But because it went through our laboratories, we put an overhyped price on. And I asked them, how much they were paying for it. Because we run out one day and I had to go out and I had to get a load of packets of table salt from Asda or Quick Save it was at the time. I bought all the table salt because we had a big order on. And all we did, we took all the lids off the table salt and emptied them into a dry media bin. Emptied them all in, then we scooped them into our own bottles, weighed them to weight, and they sent a sample up to our laboratories for testing. They tested it for table salt that was 10p a bottle. They were selling it for 100 quid a bottle. So about 10 pence for the cost of the bottle, 10 pence for your product you bought in, say per bottle, price for testing it, top end £2 per bottle. You've got, what, 100 quid a bottle, that did I say? I think it was stupid, like something stupid like that. Because we were selling them as a medical thing. So yeah, you're not telling me, Hornby. A lot of people say, oh, it's the expense, it's this, and no, it isn't. That's factored into all the range. Believe me, they are made. The actual production cost to make the item, they're probably paying about 10, 15 quid per item. I'll be amazed if they're paying more. Because that's not how business works. Granted, you have all your research to pay and everything, but how much research does it need if you already done a model before and just refine it? How much research is there? Especially when they say, well, we've done new tooling, we've done all this, we've done all. Yeah, but you're still using the main part of half of your diesels are still lemurs. And when they do make a complete one by themselves, like the Hornby 31 fiasco, the first class 31 Hornby did, with the moving fan and everything, biggest part of them are in scrap bin with Mazak rock. But yeah, don't get me started on prices. Like I said, they look good, but then there was... Should I go and get it? Go and get one? There was a... Does anybody remember the double O gauge locomotive part work? Where they sold a plastic locomotive on a plinth. And they were fantastic detail, but it was only cheap and nasty stuff. Probably cost about 70 pence to make. Got little yin tongs sat on a rock, bloody painting a line on or whatever. Not being racist, it's just what they do. It's cheap. Production's cheap. They've got a huge country, and if one's off sick, it's don't come back. He's taking your place. There's no fair employment laws out there. There's no nice cushy factories with EU regulations. You just get in and get your job done. Sometimes you're lucky if the factory doesn't collapse on you. Or in that or in that industrial area in China where they managed to flatten the full industrial area with one big explosion. No, thanks. I don't, like I say, I avoid if I can buying Chinese items. I won't buy them. I don't agree with the principles. And I don't agree with how they treat workers. I think the quality's abysmal. If you've not got, and that's a classic example, if you don't treat your workers right, they're not going to put their hearts into doing a good product. They're just going to get as many as they can on a pallet as fast as they can and sod it. They're not interested in getting a quality item. It's human nature. I wouldn't be. It's like years ago when I worked engineering. A supervisor I had, and he were a cracking supervisor. And he turned round to me, he says, I'm not interested in speed or amount you do in a day. He said, I want it right. He said, I don't want any comebacks. He said, I don't want a crap product in the marketplace. I want them done correctly. Yeah, the modern controllers, the Army ones, I thought it was the locomotive at first, but I have a loco and it'll go a couple of my locos and they'll go around a couple of times and then they slow and die off. And I think it's the controller that can't handle the amp that the old ones needed. I think they just made pathetic amps out of them. Because the way it works, the DCC, they're putting out more amps than the DC controllers. So obviously that's telling you the motors are made to run on more amps anyway. So why are they cranking it down to low levels for DC? Are they making you spend more money on getting DCC to make them run proper on their controllers? I don't trust anybody now building stuff. It's not a world where they're interested in quality anymore. It's a world where they're interested. They're not even interested in after sales anymore. They don't care about after sales like providing spares, and all they want to do now is sell you an item and run. And then when it breaks down, sell you another item because they've psychologically got you this thing. Oh, they're brilliant, they're doing this, they're doing that. They have a club, they have all this, they have all that. It's not the Army years ago, they're living off the name. He's just an importer of Chinese goods with not a very good after service. In fact, it's abysmal, really, compared to what it years ago. My local model shop, and it's a case in point. Triangles all had an XO4 motor in. Some of the Scalextric cars used the same motor as Hornby Railways, so you could go to your local model shop and get spares if you ever needed them to get them up and running. You can't get spares for any of these new ones. They all use different motors. They all use different gearing. They don't do the spares. They don't do a spares supply to repair them. If anything goes wrong, they say send them back and we'll replace it. They replace a full local. There's no spares anymore. Hornby don't even open them up in this country. They'll just take one in, throw it in a box, and send a new one out. They don't even know what's inside them. I bet half the Hornby employees won't know what's inside a local. I think I have to reach it. I think I have to reach it. One of my Hornby DCC locals, because I run it on DC the other day. Had an odd smell and it stopped, so I think I burnt chip out. But I'm thinking of sound fitting it and possibly a firebox glow, because it's a nice little model, the old Hornby DCC, Somerset and Dorset joint railway, and it's the 3F number 24. It were a nice model, that. It were the nicest ginty they did, alongside the LMS Maroon. But yeah, there is. It's a difficult thing with controllers now. Americans do some nice kit, but again, a lot of their stuff nowadays is Chinese. Tell me about it, Paul. I looked at Bachmann buildings, and they're astronomically priced. eBay's it's hit and miss. I've had a lot of stuff described as running, and they were very poor runners or non-runners, but then and again I were buying them and they weren't a lot of money, and I were buying them to do for my channel, so I don't really grumble. If I always buy with the thought that it's a non-runner, because I don't believe anything they say on eBay. I take the gamble. I'll buy. It's like I said the other day. I'll buy lots that have bad pictures, and I got a cracking lot through it the other day. I did. We're at a £30. Look, I think it was my second to last video. I think it was a £30 locomotive lot, and they were advertised as untested. So I bought them, and there were a few surprises, I'll be honest. Can believe you, Scooby. But there were a few surprises. The main one was the Fowler 264 tank. That weren't running at first, but the only reason is it had been left standing for ages. It were always going to run because it's an old XO. I think they did an XO4 motor, then on the later ones, they upgraded it to I say upgraded. They put the more modern Hornby motor in them, I think. But yeah. But that lot, I paid £30, and all three locals worked. I think I'll do a quick servicing video on the Hornby 264 because that's in good nick. It doesn't need anything doing on it really, apart from a service. That one of them's here. That one, unfortunately, it's a mainline one and it has the normal mainline problem. Hang on. Probably see on the other side. Yeah, it's got the normal mainline problem with it. But I put that on the track and it works. It'll go forwards lovely and reverse lovely. And when you put it on the track, the connecting rods level up. It all levels up and it runs nice. So, I don't know. I've got the gears for it if I want to do it. It's the same gears as the mainline 06, but I don't know. And the other one was a little D-Class 040. One of the little Hornby 040s. And it has wartime black sunshine lettering on it. It's wartime black with sunshine lettering. I'll have to buy some new decals because I like that colour. I'll redo it. I like the one they do in the full green sunshine livery. That looks good. But how long have I been on? We're just over 2 hours now. I think I'll call it a night for tonight because I'm having a bath. Happy birthday to you for work tomorrow. Get me gear ready, get me breakfast ready for when I'm at work. Sure willing, I suppose. Even though I'm probably not nowadays. I'm waiting for that great retirement. Hopefully. Anyway, as I say, it's been a great night again, gents. Some great chats. Great to see you in. And as I say, Tatty Pie, you're welcome, Scooby. It's nice having a quick catch-up, seeing what people have been doing. You're welcome, Valleys, it's great. I don't break up for Christmas, Paul. I work in the health industry. My patients are alive 24/7. So it's they sort of need. Although I've got better days off this year than I got last year, I've managed up to Christmas Day off. I'm in Boxing Day evening, and I've got New Year's Eve off. I'm in New Year's Day evening, so I've not done bad this year. I didn't get anything I wanted last year. I were in Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. You're welcome, buddy. If I don't catch up before, all the best to everyone. Have a good time, folks. Hope Santa brings you what you want. I have to get my own presents. I'm not a good lad. Oh, indeed. That's what I say. I say I've been a good boy. Well, mostly. Well, actually, a few times I've been bad. Oh, sorry, I'll buy my own presents. I don't worry about a high present pile, Mike, as long as I get a bottle of whiskey or two. And maybe some cheese. And sometimes I even hope for socks. Anyway, all the best, fellas. Double, yes, Scooby, that's a good one. Double oh ho ho. Good night, chat. All the best. Take care and tatty pie. Right. Good night and all the best. Christmas pie is the Christmas pie. Tatty pie, folks. Tatty pie.